Okay, here we go. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited you chose to do this and have decided to make these great steps for your own life, to get yourself going in a different direction. So this is the great beginnings. This is where it all starts. Module 1, Lesson 1. And what we're going to go over here is literally how to get yourself started and how to get it off to a good start. So that as we roll along, you've got some good foundational stuff underneath you. So being able to have that, I think, is a really huge thing, because when you've got a strategy and you have an idea, a proven idea that works, without a strategy is pretty powerless, right? But with a strategy, and that's what this Great Beginnings is, it can take it to a whole different level. So that's what we want to do here, is provide that base and that strategy. And I want to help you start to take a look at yourself in a different light. So if you don't have your notebook, I want you to turn this off right now and go grab it, or go get one. Make sure you have a pen or a pencil handy, something to write with, because we're going to definitely be doing some writing. We'll be here for probably less than an hour, but maybe up to an hour. So be prepared for that. Have enough time set aside for that. And we'll just go ahead and jump right on in here. My name is Christy. For those of you who don't know, I'm your subconscious change expert. I've done a lot in this area with different people over the years for different reasons, and different things, whatever they're presenting with. So it works on anything, whatever reason you've come into this group, whatever you're using it for. We'll hone it specifically towards you. The more you get on the group calls, obviously we've talked some about that already. The more you get on those group calls, the more you can ask questions, and we can direct you. I can direct you in a direction that'll help you specifically towards whatever your goal is. So let's go right in here. So we're going to talk first of all about power habits and creating a space for continual growth and change, because this isn't just about this course. This isn't just about the next 8 weeks that you're going to spend with me, or if you're in the mastery group, the length of time, whatever you choose to be in. This is about continual growth for an indefinite period of time. These are skills that you can take and use over and over again, and on a consistent basis, it turns into a practice. Having power habits is a very huge thing to understand. If you don't have some in place, here's a great place to start. They might change over time, they might not, but this is where we'll start. And this is the key to it all, right here, this key that's sitting here in front of you. If you can understand this, you'll crack the code, because this can apply across borders and boundaries in pretty much any direction that you want to use it. And it's all about a conditioned mindset. Having a conditioned mindset is the key. Every successful person has a conditioned mindset, and you've probably heard this before with other platforms and other things you've listened to. But if they didn't help you get to that place of having a conditioned mindset, and this is all about mindset change, right? Mind Rewire is about getting into the subconscious and totally clearing out old patterns and beliefs and stuff that are holding you back. And even doing that, you still need to condition your mindset. You need to condition patterns into your life that help you stay on the track that you want to be on. So successful people all across the board, they have things everything that they do that locks them into their goal. It takes them back to that place where they're on track to get to the goal that they're looking for. Every one of them has things that they do to get them right, to get them in line, and to get them ready for their day. So it's a daily thing. It's a daily process. Sometimes these things are repeated throughout the day. So sometimes it's not just a one-a-day thing. It's something that you can repeat or redo as often as you need to. It's the things that they are practicing that give them the benefit of a conditioned mindset. The conditioning comes from the rituals and habits that they do every day. All of the things you can condition yourself to do or are conditioned to do, like work, things maybe surrounding your family or your friends, it's the habits that form good outcomes in your life or in the people's lives that are successful, right? It's all the things they've conditioned themselves. And sometimes it's not even you did to yourself. You were conditioned by something, right? Work conditioned you, your family conditioned you, your friend conditioned you. Right, so get your journal out. You can shut this off if you need to and go get it. And I want you to take a look at your life right now. So at the top of your page, go ahead and write your date, write your name if you want to. And I want you to take a look at your life right now and tell me, what are your daily habits? I want you to write these down. Take some time to do this. All the habits that you think are habits that you think you're in practice with. And if there's nothing, you can write nothing, right? There's no right or wrong here. It's just what you're doing right now today, because I want you to have something to take a look back at and go, oh yeah. You know, if you end up back in this position again, you can take a look back at this and say, oh, that's what I was doing before that got me here. And sometimes, you know, if we repeat a cycle, it actually helps you to have something to go back and look at and make you, you know, realize, and okay, now you can do it different. So what are the habits you practice every day? Anything that you can think of that you're thinking of as a practice, go ahead and write it down. And I'll tell you some of mine, right? So, and some people would say like yoga, working out. It's all the things you do every day. So, you know, go through and think about it. For me, working out would be one of my habits. Drinking my coffee every morning, that's pretty ritualistic. I do that every morning at the same time. My prayer work I do every morning, right? Very ritualistic. It gets me prepared for my day. It gets me ready and up to go. What else can you think of that you do every morning that's a ritual or a habit? Go ahead and turn the video off if you need to. Excuse me. And just write everything down you can think of throughout your day that you consider a ritual. They can be phrases that you say to yourself every day. It can be the little fleeting thoughts that come and go that you don't really pay a ton of attention to, but they end up controlling your day. Those can be rituals, right? If you let it happen every day and it has some value and it's part of your belief system. It could be an action or a reaction that's triggered daily by an external force, a family member, a coworker, a classmate. Something that triggers you into a reaction. It's a habit you do every day. How about your first thought when you wake up in the morning? Is that pretty consistent? Do you wake up thinking the same things every morning? Does it get you off to a good start? That's an interesting question. So everything that you're doing that's a ritual or a pattern. Once you've got that all written out, we're going to move right along here. And I just want to ask a question. What do you know? What do you know about rituals? What are they to you? So here's some rituals that are you can read about and you can look at. And then what they do for you. So meditation is a ritual, right? If people practice meditation, they do it ritualistically. It's a practice. What is it good for? It's good to help you relax, clear your mind, right? Tapping, EFT, people know what that is. It's a great tool to help heal brokenness, right? Bring a little bit of change into your life. Mind Rewire, which is this program, this protocol, will help you reset the subconscious mind, get you back to your blueprint or as close as we can to it. Do you know about good nutrition? Well, that's a smart way to lose weight. It's a smart way to keep your body functioning properly and feel good. How about working? It's a fantastic way to make a living, right? Make some money. Reading positive affirmations is a good way to reset the mind. Reset your thought processes, right? Weight or exercise, that's a good one. What will that do? You know it'll make you strong. And we know all of these things about these potential practices or potential practices, or what's the other word I'm looking for? Or, you know, the things we can do in our life. But it's just knowing if you know them. And we have to move you from the knowing, past the knowing, into something more. Right? And into understanding, it takes it to a different level. A good understanding allows you to apply the knowledge that you've acquired, right? So you have knowledge, you understand that. Tapping is a good one for this. I have a lot of people that come through here that I've talked to about tapping, and they do tapping, they love tapping, but it was just too much. And they never really applied the knowledge. They knew how to do it, they read how to do it. You know, they know you have to say something. What is it you have to say? And they'll kind of roll back through it. They have a good understanding, or they didn't have a good understanding. They had a good knowledge base, but to apply it and move it into that understanding was a whole nother subject. So it never turned into a practice. It never turned into a ritual, right? Once you have the good understanding and it allows you to apply the knowledge, it moves you into wisdom, right? So acquired knowledge coupled with an understanding is wisdom. And that's what drives you into principles and application. You can apply it. There's a principle to it. You get the principle and it pushes you into a whole different action. Now, sometimes people say, no, I had the knowledge. I had an understanding. I was actively trying to use it, but there was still nothing. So my question would be, where are we falling short? Where is it not working for you? And what was it that was not working? I hear a lot of people talk about meditation, about hypnosis, about tapping. Where was it that we felt short within these protocols, within these concepts of how to change mindset and take care of yourself? Where did we fall short? Even with dieting, even with exercise, right? I understood how to do it. I get it. I was going there. I did it for a while. And then all of a sudden, nothing. I never got to the end goal. Why is that? So part of the activation, part of the wisdom behind knowing and understanding is do. Simply the word do. And I think we have a wrong interpretation of do. We definitely have a wrong definition of it if you come from the definition that's in our dictionaries. So we're going to talk about do for a minute. What is do? It's not enough to know, and it's not enough to understand. You have to do. To not do is a character flaw that can be equated to or called out as lazy, right? To do, one has to assert the will over the desired area in need to get the job done. Does that make sense? Right? When you need to do something and you don't do it, we'll call ourselves lazy. Even if you think you have the understanding, you think you've got the drive, you've got, everything going in the right direction, you have the knowledge, but you never quite get to do. You never, and the do is a different understanding than what we think it is. So I used to call myself lazy. What I found out is I'm not lazy, I just wasn't doing. And I'm going to give you the proper definition of it. But when I got it, when I got do, when I understood that word, it solved many problems in my life. So the dictionary definition of the word do is perform. And they have there an action, the precise nature of which is often unspecified. So, right, you get to specify the nature of what that is, but it's perform. A synonym would be to carry out, undertake, discharge, execute, perform again, accomplish, achieve. And then there was a little bit more, and it said achieve or complete in particular. Not sure what that meant right there, but it gives the implication of sort of a lackadaisical feel. Do, right? I'm going to perform something. And perform in our culture, we always think of like actors. We think of people on stage performing, right? So they're not even doing something that's real. They're acting. They're acting like something they're really not. And it's kind of created, I think, this weird dichotomy in our heads, even though you really don't think about it, but I'll explain this in just a second. So that implication of that lackadaisical feel, meaning I will go do it, it has to be done. In the back of my head, though, you're hearing like, oh, whatever, I'll do it later. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you been there when you say you're going to go do something, but in the back of your head, there's this little voice going, yeah, maybe, right? You have the idea right. You know how to do it. You've got an understanding of it, but you never push past into the actual moving. And one of the words here is accomplish. So you never really accomplish that which you set out to do, right? And the word do, the way we look at it, kind of puts it off as if it's not really that big of a deal. If you take do back into the Old English, it was the word don, and then it kind of goes through all the little things there. We want to come all the way down to that Greek part of it. And the Greek origin, the definition was I place. I place. If you take it into the Latin, it was make. What does I place mean? If you look at that in the form of do in our culture, it doesn't really make sense. Right? So our definition was perform, carry out, undertake, discharge. The Greeks say I place. Latin said make. It has a sense of urgency undertone to it. So when they were saying I place, one of the definitions I was reading about talked about how that meant to set forth now, and now is in capital letters. So it was an importance. It had an urgency to it. And there was no tense of the word that meant later. So there was no I will do later. When you said I do, it was I place, I make, I set it forth. When it was used, you know, whoever said it was going to do it now. They were going to set it into action now. They were going to put it into place now. Make whatever they said they would make now. And you knew you would have it done. Our definition of the word do falls way short of this. I don't think that our words or our culture define it accurately, so we've missed part of the interpretation of do. And when you bring it back to this place of urgency, when you tell yourself you're going to do something and set this urgency in place to it, it brings a whole new meaning to I'm going to do this. And this is the kind of definition I want you to start using with do. I want you to start looking at the word when you say you're going to do something and have a sense of urgency to it. When I say I do, it means I'm placing myself in that situation right now, and it's going to be done. Right? There's none of this stuff about performing the action, undertaking the action, right? Executing the action, because we tend to take that as this other meaning of this lackadaisical kind of, yeah, maybe I'll get to it. Right? So do from now on means I place, to make, or to set forth now. So we're going to get this stuff done. We're not going to play around with it. When you act on doing, you can trigger old emotional states. So know that. It can be scary. It's why we don't do a lot of times, right? Because it brings us into that place of fear, that place of, I don't know if I really want to be standing here or not. But know that the subconscious change work we're going to do, the work that we're going to do with your mind, is going to help alleviate that and take care of it quickly and efficiently. So these states, these places where you find this fear, this trigger of old emotional states, it's like your home, right? If you live in a home of fear, and that's what you have around you all the time, that's the emotion you let come up all the time, you become pretty comfortable with it. It's a place you know, whether it's healthy or not, and whether it works for you or benefits in your life or not is another question. But if that's the home you're used to, that's the state you're always putting yourself in or letting yourself be in, we want to change that. So the act of doing is going to help change the state of your home, of the place that you live, and let your emotional body live in. How we're going to do that is by knowing your why. Know why you want this. Know why you want this change. Let's think about that for a minute. How will you affect your life if you're able to clear out all of the subconscious clutter? Clear out the crap from your subconscious mind. Just take that in for a minute. Even start writing it down. What will change in your life? If you could look, say, 5 years out and look back on yourself without all the limiting thoughts and beliefs and all the limiting stuff that rolls around in your head, what would be different for you? Write a few sentences about that real quick. And remember, this is all just preparatory to getting you ready to move into this change process. The first 3 modules here are prep to get you ready, to help you learn and activate and put into practice the strategies and the protocol for rewiring your mind. So that once we're done here, like I said before, once this 8 weeks is through, you've got this process set into place as a practice that you can actively go and use over and over again. So why do you want to change? Why do you want this? And think about it from the tense, instead of just saying, okay, I want it because I'm tired of living the way I'm living. Think about it from the aspect of this is 5 years later and now I'm looking back. And see what you've changed into. So how can help you come to this? The how is the technique of Mind Rewire. How you get there is by the habits, that you will form here and be able to work with towards your goal on a daily basis. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to learn how to check in with your system, right? How do you feel right now? Let's do a body scan. How many of you ever done a body scan? So this is a good process to learn because it can give you kind of a weight to measure measure how you're feeling against once you do have a change process. So let's check in with that real quick. I want you to close your eyes and just take a few nice deep breaths. Big inhales and big exhales. And just let your body kind of settle into itself. Just relax, let your shoulders drop. You can just feel the air moving in and out. Nice and slow and controlled. And I want you to visualize over the top of your head a big pane of white light. It's like a big sheet of glass. And just let that white light slowly start to pass through your body. And as it's passing through your body, I just want you to notice the different places it's touching where you're feeling things. What are you feeling? Is it pain? Is it like a sharp twinge? Did a thought just go racing through? Can you capture that thought and write it down? Do you notice different areas of your body while that pane of glass is passing through, that pane of white light is passing through you? Do you notice anywhere it gets stuck? And then did you notice what it was you started doing trying to get it through the stuckness? How did you get it by that place? Did you notice if the pain changed colors? Did it have a temperature to it? And it's still just slowly moving through your body. And once it gets all the way to the bottom of your feet, you're just going to be standing on it, and everything that's underneath it passes into the earth. And you're just standing on top of this pane of glass. And just open your eyes and then write down what you were feeling. Try to write down the areas that you felt it. We just want a record of it. There's no right or wrong here. Just write what you felt. And if you need to, go ahead and turn the video off and then come back to this place when you need to. So your why is going to be your outcome. Why do I want change? Because I want to get to blank. Can you answer that question? What is it you want to get to? What do you want to see in your life? Because if you only want to change just because you're tired of the situation you're in and you don't have an outcome, you'll never get there. If you don't have a predestined, a pre-designed thing, okay, this is the direction I'm heading, this is what I want to get to, you can do all the protocols and all the different things in the world, all the different strategies and ideas, and go through program after program. And if you're, one of the ones that got stuck in the world of diet books, right? That's exactly what we did. We went from book to book, diet to diet, thing to thing. And until somebody set me down and said, okay, what's your outcome? What do you want this to look like? And gave me a strategy to follow, right? I was on the circuit of yo-yo dieting for a long time. So fill in that blank. What is it you want to get to? It could be a sentence. It could be a paragraph. If you need to, again, go ahead and turn this video off and just write for a few minutes. We'll be here when you get back. I want you to fill in that blank, and I want you to make it big. Get this written down. What do you want in your life? What do you want life to look like? If you could have anything you wanted right now in this very second, what would your life look like? So we really need the why behind your desire to change. You really need the why behind your desire to change. Why do you want to change? Knowing this answer will lead you to be able to develop that outcome. Paint yourself in a big picture of why. So here's step one. Let me walk you through this if you're struggling with it. So you're going to paint yourself a picture of you in the future. I want you to see it, feel it, and look at all the aspects of it. If your subconscious mind is clear of limiting thoughts, beliefs, and memories, if the trauma is gone, if you don't have to keep engaging in the rhetoric of the emotions, what will you be able to do in your life? What will your life look like? How will you feel on a daily basis? So we're going to start with that picture of you in the future. What does this you look like? Physically, on a physical level, what do you look like? What's different from right now, this very second? And once you write that, I want you to write what the area is that you're in. Are you in a house? Do you see yourself out in a field? Are you in a forest? Are you on a yacht? Are you in a boat? Are you on the ocean? Are you on the moon? Where are you? And this doesn't have to be realistic. It can be as far-fetched as you want it to be. But we want to have somewhere that you're heading, a direction that you can walk into. Paint your picture big. What kind of furniture? If you're in a house, what kind of furniture is in there? What does it look like? What is your color scheme? What do you see around you when your outcome is complete? Every little tiny detail. I want you to find it, engage with it. Notice what's on the table next to you. Who's around you? What people are still there? And it might be new people. It might be folks you don't recognize. Do you feel them? Can you put a name to them? So again, go ahead and turn this video off and sit here and really engage in this step one. Picture you in the future. See it, feel it, all of the different aspects of it. Where are you standing? What's around you? Who's around you? Everything that you can see. Put it into this description of you in the future. Remember, this is the outcome you are wanting. You want to design this, so paint it big. Where are you in the physical aspect? Where do you see you in your outcome? What does it look like? What do you see? What is around you? Get specific. What colors are there around you? What do you want around you? If you don't see it, can you pull it in? Right? This is your visualization. You can put anything there you want to. And not what you think you deserve from the aspect you're at now, but what do you want? This can feel uncomfortable for some people and unreal, and maybe like you're lying to yourself. But remember, we're in creator mode. We're in co-creator mode. We're working within our own mind right now to create what we want different in our life, because at some point, this happened already and put you in the position you're in. So now we're kind of working at it from a different angle, and we're trying to up the ante and change it into something that's really positive, that you want to be in, that you're actually going to engage in the creation of, instead of just letting life happen to you. We're taking life back. We're taking authority over this and creating the outcome ourselves. So what do you want? Go ahead and turn this video off and keep writing. So here's step two. Write what you're hearing. What are you hearing around you in the space that you're in? First, the little noises. Kind of go through the little things. Do you hear, machines going off? Do you hear, I don't know. Do you hear people talking in the background? Do you hear your refrigerator running? Do you hear cars? What is it you hear? Most importantly, what are the people around you saying about you? What do you hear other people saying about you when you've actually reached your goal? What does that sound like? What words are they using? How many people are talking about it? List all the things you'll hear people saying about you when you're in your outcome, when you've reached that place. And then underneath that, I want you to write, what are you saying about yourself? List all of the things that you'll be saying about yourself. Even if, when you think about it, your next reaction is, oh, geez, that's stupid. Oh, that'll never happen. And if you're saying those things, I want you to go back to step 1 and paint the picture a little bit more so you can get a little bit more engaged with it. And then come back and hear what it is people will be saying about you when you've actually reached your goal. When you've gotten to that place where your outcome is bigger than your beginning. What are you saying about yourself? And sometimes these things, I mean, you know, you're making this up seemingly in your own head. But people right now are saying things, you know, probably not about you. And it's not like it's an ego thing. Oh, people are going to say how great and wonderful I am. Don't think of it like that. Think of it like you're a leader in an arena or in a field, that people look at you and say, oh, wow, if she could do that, maybe I can do that too. Give yourself a little bit of credit and a pat on the back, right? If you're already there and you're at that place and your outcome is complete, people are going to be looking at you with anticipation. They're going to be looking at you with their eyes open and seeing what it is you did and wondering and watching you going, wow, what does that sound like? What words are they using? That's amazing that you finally got to this point. Look at what you did for yourself. You're an awesome human being. I've heard all of these phrases. One of the things somebody said to me at one point was, welcome to the top of the mountain. That one blew my mind. That one, to this day, when I think about it, it blows my mind. So write. Details, details, details. Make it big and make it so new. Even if it feels uncomfortable, make it so new that you don't really even recognize yourself in it. But it's you. Again, go ahead and turn this off for a minute and keep writing. Take 5 minutes or so. Really get this down. This is so important. Especially after we start clearing out the subconscious. This is going to be seeds that we can use to sow in now for later. Right? So, that's one of the things we learn how to do with the subconscious mind change, is how to sow seeds. And literally implanting the ideas and the thoughts into your subconscious mind so that you can start working them and growing them. So go deep with this. Step 3 is to feel it. See if you can feel your outcome. Can you find a feeling to it? What do you feel like when you're standing in your outcome? What does your outcome itself feel like? Does it have a different feeling to it? How do you feel inside your body while being in your outcome? How does the prospect of thinking about and looking at the outcome you want to make feel to you internally now? How does that make you feel? Knowing that it's possible that you have this outcome you're creating, that you can actually get to it. How does that make you feel? So now I want you to go back. You've got your outcome created. You can see it, you can feel it, you know it, you can hear it. All the colors in place. I want you to close your eyes and go to that place right now. Go to your outcome. Stand in your own shoes when your outcome is finished. Your shoulders are back, your head is up, your eyes are wide open. You have a smile painted across your face. You feel the anticipation of the moment, the excitement of the moment. And now again, I want you to take that white light, that sheet, that pane of glass, and very slowly pull it through that body. That person who is at your outcome. And just notice. Notice how they feel. Stop and write some of this down. What are you noticing? What are you feeling? Because this is really you, in all honesty. It's your projected you. And just let that go all the way down to the bottom of your feet, just like we did before, until you're standing on top of it. And now I want you to look back at what you wrote before and weigh it against what you did just now. It's your before and your after body scan, your before and after picture. Go back and look what you wrote. See what you wrote. What's different? What did it feel like when you were just standing there doing a body scan? And what did it feel like when you were standing in your outcome? Interesting differences. Right, so some of the things that I felt, like I always have pain and pressure behind my eyes. I've got a tight neck from sitting here typing, writing up lessons and helping people rewrite their patterns and rewrite their statements that they're going to use to balance. So I'm sitting at a desk all day, and I haven't done that in a long time. Actually, I've never done that. I was a pastry chef for 20 some odd years, so I stood a lot. And then I worked in a gym for a number of years, so I stood a lot, moved a lot. So sitting at a computer is very different for me. I didn't realize how torturous this is, what it does to your body. But I figured out that if I put my computer up on the mantle of the fireplace, I can stand there and type just as easily without getting some of the cramps. So definitely interesting, my before and after feel, because I even have an outcome projected. Right? What it started years ago when I first started out at 300 pounds and very sick, my outcome looked, for that 5-year projection, just looked like a healthy body standing in a place where she felt strong and safe. My outcome now is a totally different outcome that I have projected for the next 5 years. So this is a constant thing that you can change and grow with. Have a notebook or a journal ready where you can keep writing this down. If your outcome or what you're desiring changes, write it in. Whatever you want it to be. And then just see how it keeps growing and changing as you keep balancing and seeding your mind and taking out things that aren't working for you. Okay? So this is an ongoing practice. It's an ongoing part of this. Even with the health issues that I struggled with, when I started seeding good things over that, and when I started actively working to take apart the neuroplasticity that I had built to the outcome of having an illness, powerful differences in the way even projected body felt and how quickly I got to a place of health versus just struggling through. And the eating was huge too. I'm not going to knock that. The eating and getting my food right and getting the poison out of my body was huge. But the other pieces of it where I had my mind right made such a huge difference. And I can tell the difference from people that we all started kind of in the same place and they're still struggling through a process. And I'm already on the other side of it. I haven't been to a doctor in over a year. It's been well over a year, actually. From thyroid medication and high cholesterol medication and blood pressure issues or blood sugar issues to skin cancer, killing a bone in my foot. I was in and out of the doctor's office for years for that one. My asthma, right? That was a constant ongoing thing. I haven't been to a doctor. It's been well over a year. So knowing how to do these balances and take care of your own health and where your mind goes, right, when you get sick, very interesting differences. And we're going to do a special segment just on health and illness and related issues as far as how do you balance that in the mind. I'm actually making another note right here for me to get that in. All right, so no right or wrong. Don't criticize yourself or condemn yourself. There is no right or wrong here. Stay in the excitement of the creation. Stay in the excitement of being the co-creator for your own outcome, for your new original design. If you start criticizing yourself or condemning yourself, you're going down a rabbit hole. We don't want to go down the rabbit hole. And here's the honest truth and the physiology of it. Is the chemicals that you produce in your head and in your body are different when you are in creator phase, when you are open to experimenting with thinking differently and with engaging with yourself in that regard. When you're in creator mode, your brain produces feel-good chemicals that change the way you feel on a physical level. So notice how you feel when you're in creator mode, when you're like actively looking at your outcome and you're like, oh yeah, this would be so awesome. Feel that, because the chemical output in your body is different than when you're dragging yourself down and criticizing and condemning yourself. Two different set of chemicals that will take you two different places. So these are the things, this is like a huge piece of this whole process, is starting to notice that feeling, and we'll go into this some more and really start playing with it. I think in module 2, when we start muscle testing, this is a part of muscle testing. So being able to feel and know when those chemicals are rising and falling in your system is really super big. So clarify. You can go back and keep clarifying or changing this in any way you want. This is a cool thing about it. There is literally no right or wrong answer here. You may find over time that it naturally changes anyway. So if you think you're like, no, this is what I want, boom, I got it right here and it's very cool and it's awesome. If it starts naturally changing, don't condemn it, don't criticize it, just go with it. Let it be what it needs to be. Just make notes and start talking out loud about it to yourself, to your friends. This is my new goal. Here's what I'm going to do. Words spoken out loud tend to be super powerful, and we're going to talk about that a lot too. And in the water, we have a thing on water in the functional foundations area on Vital H2O. Make sure you watch that, because we talk about the power of the spoken word. And in conjunction with water, what that does, if you haven't ever heard this before or you don't know how this works, this is pretty mind-blowing. So let's see, spoken words tend to be super powerful, and in your head, what it does is it starts to create neuroplasticity in your brain. So from a physiology standpoint, literally in your brain, you're creating neuroplasticity, you're creating neural pathways. Spoken word will do that. If somebody criticizes you over and over and over and you start repeating it to yourself, you're creating neuroplasticity to that. We're going to go over some of the science behind this and how this works, and we'll talk about epigenetics and genetics a little bit too in another section. But to understand that every word you say is a creation of matter in your brain can make such a huge difference in your movement forward. Every time you tell yourself you can't, every time you tell yourself you're not good enough, every time you look at in the mirror and say you're ugly, you're creating matter in your head to that thing. So we're striving to create new neural pathways for you to groove and to get into a desired outcome. So stick with your outcome, right? When you go into that negative place, until we start actively doing balances and using the whole brain state, I want you to go straight to your outcome. Look at your outcome. What is it you want? Keep reading it. Keep looking at it. Keep going to that place and standing in that person's shoes. That's going to be the biggest way to start this process, right? And that's a practice by itself, is being able to realize you don't have to stand in the path that you're in right now. You can create whatever you want, and wherever your mind goes, the body goes. That's just the way it works. If the head goes there, the body's eventually going to catch up to it. It has to. If your head keeps going down a narrow, right, steep, dark hallway where you're calling yourself names and saying bad things to yourself, no matter where it originally came from, if you took that on and are doing that to yourself now, it's yours. So you have to take 100% responsibility over those things, right? Own it, look at it, and say, I'm not doing that anymore. And then look at your outcome and walk towards your outcome. Go stand in the shoes of that person. For your desired life to be congruent with your thoughts, you have to have a practice. You have to start practicing these things. Every time you look at the negative stuff, go stand in your outcome. Find the positive of what you want, not the negative of where you are. Did you hear that? Find the positive of what you want. Don't keep hanging out in the negative of what you think you are. Whether you know it or not, you're always practicing something. Is the practice getting you are in? I don't even know if that makes sense. Is the practice you are in getting you the beliefs and the benefits that you want in your life? Is the practice that you're in getting you to the benefits you want in your life? That's what that should say. Think about it. What are you practicing, and what is it getting you? Whether you know it or not, you're always practicing something. If I'm waking up in the morning and sitting on the edge of my bed going, I'm so tired, I don't want to go to work today. And I do that every morning, that's a practice. I'm practicing that. What if I roll over every morning and kind of lay there for a second and talk to God about how grateful I am? I'm grateful for being alive, for waking up. My eyes are opening. Grateful for the sleep I just had. This is an awesome day. What a cool way to wake up in the presence of my husband and in this wonderful warm bed. I'm in a nice house. How does that feel different than rolling over and going, I'm so tired, I don't want to do this? Where are you practicing? Where is your mind going? And that's what we want to start to notice and what we want to look at. So functional foundations are about creating a practice to help seal in the outcome. So there's a functional foundation section right here in Module 1. I want you to go through each and every one of those videos with a fine-tooth comb. I want you to understand them and know them, because this is big about getting rid of those self-limiting beliefs. And in order to do that, we have to create the habit. We have to have the practice. So it takes 30 days to create a habit. And literally what you're doing, what we found out is it takes about 21 days actually to take apart neuroplasticity. So if you've got something negative going on in your head, that neuroplasticity comes apart the same way it went together. You think a thought. And I don't know that it's really necessarily coming apart. I've heard two different thoughts on this. One says that you're actually overriding the neuroplasticity and creating new pathways over it, so to speak. And the other one says you're taking apart the neuroplasticity that says the negative thing, and then you're writing in neuroplasticity that says the good thing. Or vice versa, right? You could be doing it totally the opposite. We want to get rid of the negative, bring in the good. So it's about neuroplasticity and grooving those patterns. And the functional foundations that are in that section there in Module 1 will help you do that. The breath work, people will be like, oh, here we go, yoga. It's not yoga. We're literally learning how to breathe on a functional, physiological level. There's a way the body works, that breath is supposed to work. I have another video inside that video, actually. You have to go look it up. It's on YouTube, that I want you to take a look at and try and understand what it is this woman is talking about. She's a anatomist. She's a master anatomist. And she tells you literally how the body functions, how this works. When you take a breath, this is what happens. When you take a breath and you get the oxygen circulating through your body, there are different functions that go on and different ways that works for you to help you create neuroplasticity and to move around the chemicals in your body in a functional way. So that's what that video is about. There's one on water. There's one on journaling. And I'm not real sure what else I stuck in there, but I want you to watch all of those, take some notes, and then start practicing what it says to practice. And I want you to come back to what you've written here. Reread this every day for the 30 days. For the first 30 days of this program, I want you to reread this every day. Read your outcome. Redo the body scan. See how you're feeling. Notice what's changed. Rewrite it if necessary. Write in any needed changes. Anything that comes to you, you're like, oh, I'd like it like this instead. Remember, there's no right and wrongs. And then keep after it. 30 days, right? It takes 30 days to seal in a practice, and it's because you're growing that neuroplasticity. The next stop is going to be the functional foundations area. I'm super excited for you to start digging into this. These become a part of the practice and are necessary to fill the function of the protocol. So without these, we can still do the protocol. You can still probably find it and figure it out. With them, it's a whole different ball game. It makes it so much more powerful, and these are easy to do. They're things you already do every day. We're just kind of amping them up and doing them on a more functional level. So go back if you haven't written any of this stuff down. Watch this again if you need to, and I'll see you in the functional foundation area.